So a couple weeks ago, we had you guys redesign this yoga and surf retreat website, and we only give you guys 24 hours. Here's what we got. So hey guys, I'm Izzy from Flux, and like I said, today I'll be sharing with you your redesigns of this Sri Lankan yoga and surf retreat website. As many of you are probably aware, we do this almost weekly on Instagram, where we do sort of you guys submit websites and we redesign them and sort of share our thought process, etc., etc. But every month or once a month, we get you guys to actually do the redesign. And this was one of those instances. So if you participated in this challenge, hello, you may see yourself in this video. But yeah, so the way we'll do this is I'll quickly analyze each one, maybe 10 seconds or so for each at most. I think what we'll do is look at the 5 typical elements or most important elements for this kind of website in the hero section at least, which is the headline, subtitle or subheadline, call to action, social proof, and visual. So that'll be the sort of criteria, and if there's any flair or added uniqueness, we'll highlight that as well. But first, what we're actually going to do is look at the current website, break down what may need improvement, what's good, what's bad, all that sort of stuff, and then we will look at your redesigns and go from there. All right, so let's jump right into it. So now what we'll do is break down what needs improving. I'm scrolling through the website, but really we're just going to look at the hero section here. And right off the bat, what sticks out to me is a background image is great. I think it looks awesome. It's a great shot, but it's very busy and very detailed, which does impact or negatively impact all the text, every piece of text on this in this section, whether it be the nav links, headline, subhead, even the phone number here just kind of gets completely lost. So that's the first thing. Another thing is the headline, which I feel like people sort of overlook its importance. I think the headline is there to be used to use the headline to kind of express the value that your business delivers, right? And then the subheadline sort of explains the mechanism by which you deliver that value, how you elaborate on the headline and how you deliver that, how you deliver your offering and your value. But so in this case, it's just the location. I think this is the location of the retreat, which doesn't really tell me much about what I'm getting out of this experience, right? And subheadline I think is pretty good. Call to action is pretty good. And I think there are 2 elements here that may be missing and that I think are important, especially for this kind of website, an experience-based like tour guide kind of thing, vacation travel thing is first thing, social proof. So maybe including some sort of TripAdvisor rating or maybe a short testimonial, like 1 or 2 sentences, that really helps in terms of credibility and building trust. And the second thing is a visual. So in this case, we do have this background image, but I think seeing somebody experiencing Camp Po, which is the name of the company, experiencing this retreat in action would be nice for a site visitor to see, because then they can kind of envision themselves experiencing it. So yeah, I think that's what I have to say about the current design. What we'll do now is jump into your redesigns. And so I think I've got 5 or 6. We'll start with 5 or 6 that need a little bit of improvement, that are pretty good, but do need a little bit of improvement, in my opinion. And then we'll look at some fan favorites, 5 or 6 fan favorites. Like I said, there are a lot, so I'll be flying by these. And yeah, so let's jump right into your redesigns. The first one on the list is by Canute Studio. And I should mention, The reason why these are blurry, so you may be able to tell it's a little blurry, is because these are screenshots. Yeah, so we ran this contest on Instagram. We had to screenshot people's posts and all that kind of stuff. So not the best way of doing things, but nonetheless, we can still move on. So Canute Studio, very first one, and the first thing I think of here is I love the idea that you had with the headline: practice surf and yoga in the breathtaking tropical Sri Lanka. The only thing is, I'm not sure if the end there, in the breathtaking tropical Sri Lanka. So I'm not sure if, in terms of the English, that's correct. And this is something that I've noticed with many of these. And for that, if you're not a native speaker of the English language, what I would recommend is two fantastic tools. First one is WordTune. It's an AI-based tool that rephrases things. So just throw down a sentence and it'll rewrite it literally perfectly. It'll give you a bunch of different suggestions for that sentence in immaculate English. And the other tool I recommend is Grammarly. I'm sure most of you are well aware of it. So Grammarly and WordTune, definitely check those out for when you're designing stuff and need to write copy. Anyways, subheadline, a little short right here. I think it could sort of elaborate on that headline a little bit and talk about how that value is delivered. Otherwise, I think it's not bad. I'm not too sure about these overlaid images on that image. I'm not too sure if that works, although you had the really smart idea of including social proof. So good on you there. Canute Studio, good job. Next up, we have this redesign by UX Moments, at UX Moments. And the first thing that sticks out to me is the drop shadow on the text. And I've never been a fan of drop shadow on text, and it does have its uses, I mean, functionally. So if you have light text on a relatively light background and you really don't want to change the color of either one, then what you could do is add a drop shadow to that text and, lower the opacity as much as possible, just to make that contrast work, right, between that light text and that light background. But in this case, it wasn't really needed. I think it was a stylistic choice. And I'm not too sure if it works. But otherwise, I really like what you did with the navbar. I think it's a really neat idea with the waves there. And I think the imagery is good. And yeah, those are my immediate comments. So let's move on to the next one here. Next one is, zoom out just a little bit, by Laura Juan. And the first thing that sticks out to me is the title. It's not the most legible thing in the world. So it's basically text with reduced opacity from what I'm seeing. And, the background image being used is already pretty detailed. And so white text on that would have been a little dicey. And so reducing the opacity just makes that even worse. And to be quite honest, it's very, very hard to make text on imagery work well or very well. So I don't blame you. It's very hard, especially with detailed high-res imagery like this. So yeah, that's my only comment for this one. So well done otherwise, Laura. I think it's great. Next redesign by Unpopular Opinion. And first thing I'm noticing is the logo here in the top left. Is that not actually a logo? Well, it's like a real life image of the logo, which I think is a pretty unique idea. I'm not sure if visually it meshes. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. In terms of the buttons here, I think there's a cohesiveness that's lacking. This green one just feels a little bit out of place, and the text within it isn't contrasting enough with the background, with that green color of the button. So watch out for contrast. Always use a contrast checker. I'll link a really good one that I use down below. And yeah, so otherwise, so you can't stop the waves and worries, but you can learn to surf. I think it's a pretty good headline. I think it delivers the value of kind of recharging, letting loose, and all that kind of stuff. This sub-headline text may be a little small. I mean, if I were to full screen this, it's just, that looks like it may be like 12px font, which is tiny, right? So watch out for that. And by contrast, you have the nav links are absolutely massive. So it may not look like it, but if this were full screen, and that's huge. But a good rule of thumb for nav links is 16px. So do keep that in mind. Yeah, those are my thoughts for unpopular opinion submission. Next we have Ferry Awigianto. I probably butchered that. Anyways, what sticks out to me right away is the play button here. To me, it just kind of looks like the video that's supposed to sit behind it is missing. I'd feel like if I were to see this, I'd think, okay, maybe the background, like the actual video hasn't loaded or something. But what I'm assuming is going on is you click on this and the whole background video starts playing. So that was a little bit misleading for me. Otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Otherwise I think it's pretty good. Next up is Web Design by Nisa. And in this case, Nisa went for a pretty unique layout here. She's got the huge type, and then she's got the call to action button, the book now on right over here on the side. And, a frosted nav, which is pretty cool. The only thing is I feel like this call to action sort of gets lost on the side there, and with the thin stroke. And honestly, the title, even though it's absolutely massive, I do feel like it kind of gets lost with that image in the back. And like I was saying earlier, it's very, very hard to make white text or any kind of color text on a background image, especially something with a lot of whites, a lot of turquoise and light blues like this. It's just hard to make that work. So good on you for trying, though. I think there's a lot of great elements here. That's Web Design by Nisa's submission. And then we have at Someone's Outside. I like your username, so we're off to a good start. But what I like about what they did was they made sure to combine both surf and yoga. So the value proposition is surf and yoga retreats, right? And I feel like most people either focused on one or the other, but at Someone's Outside here made sure to cover both. So he's got the imagery for the yoga, and he's got the surf visual as well. Otherwise, I think the copy is fantastic. Great call to action. The use of white space I find is fantastic as well. So well done, Someone's Outside. Oh yeah, and so now we're going to move on to the fan favorites. These are the fan favorites. And the first one is, and I think this is the one that got the most love on Instagram, was by J_designs. And this one is great because it just ties everything together. Every element needed is there, and it's executed well. So here's what I mean. Impactful headline, the value is there, and the subheadline sort of elaborates on that value. I should probably read them out. So best surf and yoga retreats in Anhangama, blah, blah, blah. And then the call to action, book your package. And right under there, so this is what a lot of people missed, is social proof. And he's got I think this is a TripAdvisor badge. No, I think that is a TripAdvisor badge. He's got the ratings here with the separator bar. And last but not least, he's got the visual. And I think he's got the best visual here, or one of the best, because so the best visuals are the ones that show the product or service in action being used. So people want to be able to, site visitors want to be able to envision themselves or see themselves using your service or your product. And so Jay was able to sort of deliver on that concept. So well done, J_designs. Good job. Next up is Bluely Creative. And what I like about Bluely Creative, so first of all, Bluely Creative did something that many didn't do, was they added a gradient sort of overlay, something that to go on top of the background image to make that text more readable. And look at the difference that it made. So good on you for that. And then another thing is the call to action. What Bluely Creative actually did here was they saved the user a step, because they're allowing the user to see the packages right on the page. So this is a drop down, and so instead of having to click on the see packages and then scrolling through the packages and all that stuff, so Bluely is essentially saving them a step. So that's a neat little touch. Good job, Bluely Creative. Next, we have Brand Shaper Official, and I think they're the only ones who submitted a mobile redesign, and I think it's a really fantastic one, especially the actual presentation. I like the sort of harsh shadows. I think it really adds a nice touch to the actual presentation and the mock-up itself. So otherwise, I think the layout is great. Obviously, this is mobile, so some elements were thrown into the hamburger menu, and that's the thing with mobile. You have to keep what's most important, because otherwise it just becomes chaotic and busy. So there's nothing for us to really compare it to, since everyone else still did a desktop redesign. But well done, Brand Shaper Official. Next, we have Joe Nags. I think the K is silent. Joe Nags, or Knags if it's not. And this is a really fantastic one, because first of all, the headline does exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It's expressing the value that the business delivers, which in this case is being able to reset and feel good after the retreat. So, and he uses the word recharge. So recharge with our yoga and surf retreats. And then he elaborates on how that's accomplished through the subhead, which is very well done. And another unique thing that Joe did was he added, so he's got two calls to action. Or he's got two buttons here. He's got the see our packages, standard. But he's also got the contact button right beside it, because just given the nature of the business, a lot of people will want to inquire and contact and ask questions. So it's a really smart touch. And finally, he's got some social proof right in the bottom right here with a little testimonial snippet. And I think the whole layout is great. The visual is awesome. And so yeah, good on you, Joe. I think this is a great redesign. Next one, Thomas Portal. I think that's how you say it, Thomas Portal. Yeah. And this is a good one as well. Explore Sri Lanka's natural beauty, meet new people, and surf. So value expressed in the headline, very important, well done. You can choose from a carefully planned packages that will suit you and your friends. I think it's pretty good. The only thing is the nav links get a little lost given the background image. So maybe a black or a black gradient, or with a relatively low opacity could have helped here, because they do really get lost. Call to action is good. I think the image is good as well. So yeah, well done, Thomas. Next, we have Larissa Habliuk. And what I really like about what Larissa did, so three things actually. So there's the nav bar. I think this is a really neat idea. What she did with the nav bar. And then you have the choice of typeface, and I think she's the only one who did this, I think. But I feel like the typeface she chose really aligns with what the business is all about, which is kind of relaxation on the ocean, that kind of thing. And this typeface captures that tone really well. And then Larissa also did another great thing. She saved the user a step by including all of the locations, packages, and activities here. That you can choose from right here without having to click on a button and then scroll through them. So these are the little things that do make a difference. So well done, Larissa. Finally, we only have 2 more, promise. And this one's by the real Chris Woe. And for this one, it's really clean. So at first glance, you may think that there are things missing, but it's just so well laid out, and the minimalism is so well done that actually everything is there. So you have the social proof here, the badge, I think. Yes, TripAdvisor. You have the call to action in the top right here, book now. You have your nav, you have the video, the background video can be played. You have a really powerful headline, surf and yoga retreat right at Sri Lanka's ocean. So everything is there, and I love the minimalistic visual language in this one. So good on you, Chris. This is a fantastic redesign. And last but not least, we have our friend I_Sanjay Ramasamy. I probably said that wrong, but anyway, so this one I feel like it takes minimalism just a tad too far, because we're missing a few things. We're missing social proof, a call to action. So how is the user going to know what the next steps are? And that's the purpose of a call to action is, okay, these are the next steps. This is what you do next. And yeah, so otherwise the copy in the headline is a little vague, I find. So it says, unleash the world within you. So a little bit more specificity would actually be helpful here. But otherwise, I think it's cool. The idea is great, but again, always simplify as much as possible, but keep what's necessary, right? And yeah, that's all we've got. If you submitted and I didn't get to cover it in this video, I'm sorry. There were just so many. Like I said, it would be all day if I did do so. Again, we do these every month, so do keep participating, and eventually we'll cover you as well. Thank you to everyone who participated. This was a ton of fun. And yeah, please like the video, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the challenge. Please do jump on Instagram, participate next time. It's a bunch of fun. So take it easy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.